Abraham Goldstein was sitting on the golden throne in the divine dimension meditating. Abraham was waiting for the annual general meeting of House Goldstein to begin. The 300 largest shareholders, mostly family members, were expected to come for the proceedings, which were held in the main auditorium of Goldstein Tower. The days before the meeting, Abraham's angels had secretly implanted a divine technology human chips into everyone's head. This was done nighttime after spraying sleep-inducing gas in the rooms of the delegates while they were sleeping. As the gas had sedative properties, no one noticed the pain when the chips merged with their brain stems. For the first time since Abraham found the divine dimension, he felt annoyed. Since a second in the real world was equivalent to an hour in the divine dimension, it was not an easy waiting for all of his descendants to get to the meeting. Abraham felt like he had been waiting for weeks, and this was angering him. Once everyone was assembled, Abraham made a dramatic entrance, announcing the meeting and addressing the concerns regarding the inflated research budget. He claimed to be speaking from the divine dimension, but Jake Goldstein challenged him, suggesting that his appearance was merely a hologram and questioning the substantial expenses. In a fit of rage, Abraham silenced Jake, causing him to die from a brain hemorrhage as a result of the chip rupturing his brainstem, instilling fear among the other delegates. With Jake's death, Abraham proclaimed himself their new god, threatening further violence if the rest of the delegates did not submit to him. He proceeded to end the lives of 3 other delegates. He appointed Isaac Goldstein, Abraham's 5th-generation grandson, to be the new CEO, while he occupied himself with other spiritual matters. Satisfied with the outcome, Abraham vanished from the meeting, leaving the delegates in shock as medics arrived but were unable to save the fallen victims. Abraham Goldstein found solace in the tranquil beauty of the sunrise from his expansive private garden at the South Pole, a moment he cherished alongside the sunset. Residing in Goldstein Tower, he appreciated the unique phenomenon of the sun rising at the spring equinox on September 23rd, remaining visible for 6 months, and setting at the autumn equinox on March 21st. This natural light stood in stark contrast to the artificial illumination he endured during the dark winter months, enhancing his connection to the environment. Historically, the Goldstein family had transformed Antarctica into a habitable region 150 years prior by deploying large satellites equipped with mirrors to reflect sunlight onto the surface. This innovative approach allowed them to control the amount of sunlight reaching the ground, influencing the local climate. The reflected light, resembling distant stars rather than the sun itself, provided essential warmth, particularly during the summer months when the Antarctic sun was insufficient. Despite the beauty of the dawn, Abraham felt a growing sense of unease. He had accumulated numerous adversaries who mistakenly believed he possessed complete knowledge of their intentions. In reality, his ability to connect with others was limited to one person at a time, requiring intense focus and leaving him vulnerable. As he contemplated his future, he recognized the urgency of securing his legacy in the divine dimension while his physical existence waned. Faced with insufficient electricity to sustain both his production facilities and the divine detector machine, Abraham understood the potential for public unrest if he could not maintain order among his citizens. While acquiring additional fusion reactors seemed a feasible solution, it offered little satisfaction, as it would merely prolong his reign without fostering the reverence he desired. Abraham yearned for followers who both feared and worshipped him, reminiscent of earlier eras when mysticism prevailed over scientific understanding. In pursuit of this vision, Abraham considered utilizing memory wipe technology to create a new society on a terraformed planet that mirrored the Promised Land. However, the complexities of locating a suitable environment beyond Earth posed significant challenges. Ultimately, he turned his attention to asteroids, where existing technology could facilitate the creation of a livable habitat. After identifying the 2 asteroids B528A and its companion B528b, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. Despite their co-ownership by the Terran Council, Abraham was confident that with the right proposals and concessions, he could secure these celestial bodies as the foundation for his divine ambitions. Excited with his plan, Abraham set up a proposal to convince the other faction leaders to transfer the ownership of the asteroids to him. A few weeks later, Abraham Goldstein stepped out of the vacuum tube transport that took him from his headquarters in Antarctica to Goldstein Tower in the city of Hansstadt in Europe. Hansstadt was the capital of the House Müller faction, and the Terran Council annual general meeting was held there. The Terran Council met monthly at the Goldstein Tower, but Abraham Goldstein never attended these due to his age and his dislike of traveling long distances. Upon arrival, Abraham Goldstein, Isaac Goldstein, and their bodyguards met with Andreas Müller, PR manager of House Müller. The meeting began with condolences from Andreas regarding the recent death of Abraham's grandson, Jake Goldstein. This revelation startled Abraham, who had taken precautions to keep the circumstances surrounding the deaths confidential, leading him to suspect a spy within his organization. In response to Andreas's inquiry about his well-being, Abraham feigned sorrow, attributing his pallor to grief. He had lied that he had fallen ill due to his old age, and upon recovery, he learned that several of his family members had been poisoned. He explained that the deaths were being kept secret due to an ongoing investigation, promising a proper funeral once details were made public. Isaac, initially taken aback by Abraham's lies, struggled to maintain his composure to stay calm. Despite having been promoted by Abraham, he felt controlled like a pawn in his evil and selfish schemes. Andreas then offered to escort Abraham and his entourage to their accommodations, suggesting they rest before the upcoming council meeting. After their departure, Abraham instructed his bodyguards to search for and eliminate any surveillance devices in their rooms before retiring for the night. The following day, the Terran Council convened on the top floor of Goldstein Tower, located 7,000 meters above the ground. Hans Müller, the leader of House Müller and old chairman of the council, confronted Abraham about his lies about the deaths of his delegates. The conversation hinted the recent murders within Abraham's family, which had caused unrest among his faction. Following this, Joachim Müller, the young new CEO of House Müller, introduced a holographic presentation by Agnes Boyakshiu from One Humanity, who condemned the council for the suffering on Mars and urged them to prioritize aid over profit. This unexpected outburst infuriated Hans, who promptly terminated the hologram and had Joachim escorted from the meeting. Wang Chung from the House Chung faction remarked on this incident. After this short interruption, Abraham proposed to acquire ownership of asteroids B528A and B528B, along with a request for an exclusion zone around them for a new asteroid colony. Hans agreed to grant the asteroids to Abraham, but denied the exclusion zone, emphasizing the importance of mutual and shared intelligence for maintaining peace. Abraham assured the council that his project would improve conditions in the refugee detention centers by resettling individuals on a newly developed colony, by moving the old residents to a moon base. Barry White from House White expressed initial concerns, but ultimately supported Abraham's request, approving the colonization of B528A and B528B towards House Goldstein, without interference and disruptions from their factions. After this event, there was a charity ball happening at the Goldstein Tower. Amidst the excited and happy crowd, Abraham felt a sense of unease, particularly due to the enemies he had made following recent upheavals in the House of Factions. While he could typically monitor the thoughts of those around him via divine technology microchips, the lack of this capability at the event heightened his anxiety. Despite these concerns, he felt a sense of satisfaction with the Council's approval of his plans to own both asteroids and to convert one asteroid to Eden, making himself to be the god of this new colony, and the other as the headquarter control base where his angels will live and continue to monitor his new colony.